This is the Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff YouTube channel. Specifically, every Tuesday, the Doctor's Orders live stream, where we pull back the curtains and show you guys now for 86 weeks in a row what this company's all about, what the people are like behind the scenes. I actually referenced this live stream today. A person reached out to me like, hey, what do you think about this company? I said, not my vibe. Just some negative stuff in the past. I don't really want to get into it, but not a fan. They said, what companies do you recommend? I said, hey, you got to check out Dr. Nick's. And I said, hey, actually, they have a live stream. If you want to talk about vibes, you want to talk about getting to know and support good people, come check out this live stream. So if they're in here today, shout out to them. But beyond that, guys, we talk about products releasing. We talk about what's going on behind the scenes. We talk about what you guys want to talk about. Most importantly, we have tangents. And today, we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of essential oils and fragrance oils. And we'll be just kind of breaking it down in a matter-of-fact way, but also really hoping to get your guys' experiences and opinions out there to have a well-rounded kind of like dynamic study group to get this information here today. My name is Dan. I do encourage you guys to check out, if you hit that thumbs up on your way in, the like button. If you want to share this out, we would love to have some friends in this live stream, or in the future, if they want to catch the replay at any time. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of factual information today that people are going to say, oh man, I left feeling better. I left like I learned something, and who knows whose day that could help out there. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Welcome in, everybody. Good to see you guys. Leo, missed you last night, man. But I'm Dan. I have a beard. Not a 2-foot beard, though. If I could, welcome the newest member of the 2-foot beard club, the facial hair gifted, Mr. Dr. Nick himself. Nick, can we confirm? Is that official?
It's official. It's official as of Saturday. You know what caused it? It was really funny, actually. Friday.
Testosterone.
I sat down on my beard and I stood up and it hurt like hell, like yanked my chin back down. Cause I went like this and I lifted my head to stand up first, of course, pulls out from under my leg.
Yeah.
And it's happened like a couple of times over the past couple of weeks. And I'm like, this is new. I'm like, I'm not used to like sitting on my beard all the damn time.
Yeah.
And so I didn't do this out of the shower, so everyone knows. It was after I showered, yes, in the morning, but I waited until it was, because I've been over 2 feet when it's wet for a while.
Oh, okay.
So I got dry, got ready, didn't even go anything crazy with the Abrolite, just normal, and then waited about 2 hours, and Jill's fabric measuring tape was laying around somewhere, and I just did the same thing that bad Natalie did over at the competition is, bottom lip down. And there it was, though. I thought so. Then I had grabbed Jill and she like grabs it at the bottom while it was just hanging loose and puts it up so I could see it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, we got to send a picture to Dan. That's definitely over 24.
And I can confirm, and I'll have a question for you, but first I have a show and tell. Passover. Oh yeah. Okay. Leo. Awesome, man. That makes sense. I think I knew that, but forgot. So I have something to tell you because I don't think you saw yet, but this is a first for me, and there will be a video coming, filming this week here. I did it. I did it, sir.
Yes.
I'm in the Beard Knot Club.
I did see this. I did. And Jill and I were talking about it. I'm like, oh, he's there.
I'm in the club. Now, I only have a couple of specific situations where I rock this right now. The main one being I have a shirt like in the video here where it has massive white letters that make my beard look terrible, but I really wanted to wear the shirt, so I just tied that bad boy up, and that was the look.
Dude, but that's actually a valid reason for doing it too, because I'll do a braid or a bun once in a while just so I can wear a shirt with like a front logo, and it's like, obviously for the bun, for me, it's usually more of a safety thing than it is like a style thing for me right now. But what's funny is I got out in the sun today and it was like over 60 in my driveway, and just even the little bit of extra length where it starts covering up like the bottom of your stomach into like your waistband, like that creates a lot of additional heat. Like the sun hits it and it's like walking around with a damn blanket on your chest. So I bet you this summer, man, I'm going to be doing the big Viking braid and the bun quite a bit.
Yep. Braiding is my next one. And Jill says it's a great
it
look
looks
for
good.
You. Thank you. And Walter
it's a
says
good
the
look.
same thing.
I
do too.
I think the shape of your face lends to that better than mine. I feel like when
so.
I do the bun, it makes me feel like my face looks rounder than I normally see it. So I'm like, I don't like it. Because it kind of like puffs out the sides a little.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I like it on you. And you can't call it a bun. We're men. It's a knot.
It's a knot.
It's a knot. Okay. We can't be putting that out there.
Okay.
But no,
right.
I like it. And I really like the fat braid on yours. The
Dude,
real thick one.
That's my favorite. It took me a while to get that right because like I kept doing
hard.
It's so hard because like one, I didn't grow up braiding hair, right? So didn't have any siblings that had hair that I could braid.
I did, but still didn't braid it.
No. And so I had to learn that part of it, first of all.
Yeah.
But then what I noticed is like my attention to detail and my like, this will tell you guys something about me. I had the same problem with braids that I have with something else in life. I am a habitual over tightener of screws.
Me too.
And I have to actively tell myself, is what I'm screwing into, does it have threads? Are they wood or plastic threads? Or are they metal? Is it aluminum? Is the, I am an over tightener through and through.
Now, do you over aggressively brush your teeth?
Yes.
I do too, to the point where every time I brush my teeth, I have to stop myself and say, go easy. That's more is not better, to the point where I have recessed gums at the top because I grew up like this. And when I tighten things, same thing. Tighter's better, right?
Shoelaces,
we have to do it
you have to loosen them back up after you lace up like a new pair of shoes because you're like, these are going to fit perfectly like this and they look great. And then you can't even put your foot in them and you're like, okay, yeah, I got to still be able to put my foot in there. Man. But no, absolutely. But you know what I do now is I have a Sonicare toothbrush, and if you apply too much pressure, it vibrates at you.
Yeah, same. I have a very similar one.
And at first, I thought that's just what the toothbrush did. I thought it vibrated on the head, and the handle vibrated like the whole time. And Jill's like, no. You know that flashing light at the bottom that you can see in the mirror and the pulsing vibration? She's like, that's you're brushing too hard sensor. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it checked out.
I'm going to write this down right now because you mentioned something and you didn't complete your thought, but I believe I know where you're going with this. I
made my braid too tight. As soon as I started doing it, that's why I brought up the over tightening of screws. So I kept doing this thing where I'd braid it and I'd be like, and I'd be like pulling it down. And it was like this skinny, long, like, I don't know, it looked like I should be wearing like a bolo tie behind it or something kind of braid. And I just didn't like it. And but then I figured out like, less is more.
It truly is. And I still have my other question in my pocket, but I have a question for you. Do you, and I think I know this answer, I think we've discussed it. Do you believe or do you know if you have ADHD?
Oh yeah, I was diagnosed with ADHD. I was like patient 0 for Ritalin, I feel like.
Yeah, okay. So me too. And we had a discussion last night on my stream, actually, because I was going over some things in my life that are a result of ADHD. Now, I do believe it's a superpower of mine. I don't think that you would be where you are or I would be where I am. And not to say that we're anything special, but where we're at right now, if we did not have that superpower. But for example,
I would definitely be somewhere different.
Yeah. Oh, man. Guys that were in the chat last night, tell me the name of that term. Shoot. It's like aggressive. Oh, revenge. So I have a thing and there's a term for it. And this happens my whole life. I do stuff and then it's like, oh, there's just a name for it. I have this thing where I have what is called revenge. Oh man, what is the term? What's the term when you put something off for too long?
Procrastination?
Yes, I have revenge procrastination with my nighttime. So I work really hard all day, just like you. If there's anybody in the world where I'm like, yeah, they understand and they match my schedule, it's you. And your day is essentially in part of your mind, your ADHD mind is taken from you. So at the end of the night, all the kids will be away. I'll be working until 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I saw you online last night when I was working too. And literally the green check, I'm doing emails and we're together. And the night goes away. I take pride in that. But once everybody's asleep, once my work is done, I'll bust out TikTok. I'll bust out YouTube. And I will spend way too long on it, even though I know in the morning I'm going to regret it. but it's me like taking my day back, and it's my ADHD making me. And I'll wake up in the morning, I'm like, yep, should have got more than 3 hours. Yep, should have done this, and it's like one of the biggest like symptoms of ADHD. And I'm like,
yeah,
man,
and you know what that is too. You know what the funny part about that is if you really look, and I just learned this today. If you actually pulled that apart from like psychoanalysis perspective, it's a form of a coping mechanism that you're using there. It's like it's 100%. That's what it is.
And if you don't like look within and have that introspective approach, you just think about what you're doing. But if you're like that, it's like a coping mechanism. Now, is that fun to hear? No, but it's real, it's.
But I mean, also I learned today. I mean, like most things that people do that they're not supposed to do is these days a coping mechanism for something you do have to do. And some of them are more destructive than others, right? Some of them are drugs, and some of them are like excessive alcohol, or people that like pull their hair out, right? I mean, whatever it is, those are all coping mechanisms. But then again, there's healthy ones. You can like I say, scrolling, using aimless time, like being like, I don't have to do something, so I'm going to do something that's completely not productive and doesn't contribute to me in any way. And
you know it too. And you wake up and you're like, I could have had sleep instead of wasted 2 hours.
But you know what? If you think about the things that count as coping mechanisms, you can safely say in life that laziness is the cornerstone of innovation, and you can't say anything else about it.
Right.
And that literally the entire part of your personal life is really strung together, and most of your memories are just a collection of a series of coping mechanisms.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that's kind of what life is, right? So you do the crap you have to do, and then you do what you want to do in order to deal with the fact you got to do more stuff you don't want to do.
And that kind of sums it up right there, like truly, yeah. So I put it down, and I think we're actually the perfect two to kind of be talking on this, just because we're so open and so transparent and vulnerable. I want to do maybe ADHD, or even just bigger, because I don't think we've actually done it on this stream. We talk about it all the time, but do like a mental health discussion stream. And if anything, I think some people can relate to us. Like I talked about it last night, and Jose said, I'd never heard of that one before. And he's like, and I do it. And it's like, when you tell me and we talk about these things, you're like, oh, coping mechanism, my brain's like, click, yep, okay, that makes sense. I can understand this and be okay with what's going on. And so I think that would be a really good stream, and probably therapeutic for me.
That would be a really good one. No, I love that. And like, I think what's funny is like what was back in the 90s, a diagnosis of ADHD that I got when I was, a kid. I think what was weird later in life, going back to see someone to do the kind of, run through some things and do some personal work, if he actually thought it was more hyper focus was actually my problem more than ADHD was, but technically
it's a symptom of it.
It is.
Yep,
hyper focus is a symptom of ADHD. And that's why I think like I wouldn't have been able to start multiples of the things that I've started, because they start off as like unhealthy hyper focus in order to get them off the ground. Like,
and people don't get that level of obsession that you and I have. Now, there of course are people, and people think they do,
but it gets weird.
There's levels to stuff, and you and I go deep, like deep.
Oh yeah. I mean, talking to the point where it's like I need to force myself to not like try to research things during those states, like while I'm driving. Like I'm not a texting and driving person. I have it on the magnet mount, and I'm sitting there watching like someone run through like a white paper document, like talking about pieces of like an RFC or something. And then I'll be in the shower, and I found this place in my shower where I can take my phone and put it up on the little ledge in the top and balance it against the wall so I can keep watching what I'm watching while I'm in the shower.
Literally.
I mean, the definition of hyperfocus, right? But I'm convinced that if you treated starting something if you wanted to create something in the world that doesn't exist, whether it's music, art, a business, a piece of technology, a new product, I don't think that's actually possible 9 out of 10 times without having an unreasonable level of focus behind that thing. Like if you treated creating something new like a 9-to-5 job, you would never get it done, because there's too many things to do technically for one person to do anyway.
Yep.
So you have to hyper focus.
And we see that all over the place. You hear stories of like Kobe Bryant, and you'll hear like an interview with Allen Iverson, right? Legend. And they'll be like, hey, what are your thoughts on Kobe? He's like, oh, yeah, do you know why I'm never in that discussion? Because I went out and enjoyed myself. I had a life. He said, that is a different level. That is something extra. And those people do exist. And with that too, the reason why I want to do a stream, and the reason why I want to talk about this stuff, and I talked about it last night, becoming aware is so important for me personally, because I started to find my faults in myself, and I could attribute a reason to it. And I'll give you an example. When I start something, Nick knows this about me more than probably anybody other than Sam. When I start something, I do it, and I do it very quickly. I don't wait. I don't procrastinate. If it's on a checklist, it drives me freaking crazy. I hate checklists. I love checklists. I love checking things off. I hate having things lingering on my checklist. So when I do something, I do it full out. The problem was, I started to like look at, let's say, Violet in a bad way at times. And I'd be like, God, why is she so bothering me? Why is she doing this? And then I had to take a step back and was like, no, she's just being a little girl. She's just being someone that wants to give attention to her dad. But I'm so focused here. And I would not lash out, but be like, just a minute, sweetie, just give me time. And I had to be like, I can step away for 10 minutes and come back, and the net result is going to be the same. It's actually going to be better because I have a little mood boost, and I helped my daughter and stuff. And so I've had all these like revelations of myself and the actions and the consequences because of chemical imbalances, because of any kind of like of my ADHD. And then I see it in my kids, and I'm able to help with them from there. And so it's been super, super like helpful for me to look within. So I think having a stream in the next within the next 2 weeks, I think would be amazing.
Oh, that'd be great. Let's do it. I mean, it's like relevant right now too for so many reasons. So I think that's great. I'd love to.
Awesome.
I mean, it's like I'm constantly, every time something happens, you learn something new and exciting about what happens inside of your head that you might not find desirable. It's always one of those learning experiences, and it's always kind of it's therapeutic to talk about it while it's happening. And it's actually, I think, really productive to talk about it once you've like figured it out, and at least be able to, if nothing else, maybe give some perspective. Like a comment I just saw in here, like I would have been definitely in that exact same boat had they been doing the type of diagnostic that they do now back when, I was a kid. Like I was the kid, we'll talk about this more in the stream, but like, this is perfect. I mean, I was the kid literally like on the way to school, like would have to take my shoes and socks off multiple times and put them back on because the seam wasn't right across my toes or something, right? Like I grew up with sensory stuff and all sorts of things. So there's lots of things in life, like later now in life at 40, that obviously through the years, I've learned to, learn more about, deal with, work around it sometimes. And I think the most important thing to talk about is how you can harness some of those things and literally leverage them to do great things. I think the little pieces of our brains that are different than each other's is what makes us, different, and why there needs to be so many different people in the world,
I agree entirely. And my final thought, because it's like I almost want to have the stream right now, but we can't. But my final thought, what you just said there, the sensory thing. So my son Jax has a lot of anxiety and stuff. He's seeing a therapist now every Wednesday, which has been going really well. We're 2 weeks in, so kind of just like they set everything up and stuff. But I'll talk more about that on the stream. You said sensory stuff. Being able to understand sensory stuff helps me parent. So for example, Jax, I get on his cleats. He is insanely particular with his socks, and he has to hold them super tight while I put on the cleat. He's insanely particular on how tight his cleat is. He's like, Dad, it feels like it can come off. I'm like, it's not. It's a sensory thing to him. He also gets home from school. The very first thing he does is strip down to his boxers. He just hangs out in his boxers all day. The reason why, he has sensory things with clothes on his body. And so there's so many things that are related. And if I was not thinking in a lens of sensory, I'd be like, your shoes are fine. Like, hey, go, dude. Or why are you naked? What are you doing? But if you look through that lens of understanding, it's like, okay, I need to tie his shoes one extra time for him to be confident and secure, and then have open discussions about why this is going on. So be it. Let me tie his shoe one more time,
Got to switch that kid to some boas. Like, go, get the boa ratchet laces.
Yeah, I mean soccer. So soccer is super particular
Oh
with the
yeah,
way your
you
laces
can't.
strike the ball.
You probably can't. Because there's like a certain type of traction that
Yep,
even happens there, like the kind of
exactly.
lace and how it's
Yeah,
sitting, right?
and we tried slide. We've tried it all, but yeah. So I mean, okay, all right. We're gonna
Yep.
table that, and I cannot wait to have that stream. And Jill says, I think normalizing it is important too. Exactly, and we,
Yeah.
like I just said there, when I talk about the shoes, I adjust, I help him, but then we have a conversation and he knows sensory stuff. He goes to therapy about anxiety. This isn't like some like hidden dark corner anymore. Like
No.
we're talking about it. If you guys follow my wife, Sam C, on her Instagram, she posts about mental health pretty much every day and posts about the tears and the struggles, but also the support and the triumph. So yeah, we need to. And she says people naturally feel strange or embarrassed for being off, which is a normal cycle for all of us. Facts.
It is.
Facts.
It is. And just like how someone pointed out to us earlier, it's like how being embarrassed for having like feelings or emotions is like being embarrassed about being naked. It's like everyone is naked underneath their clothes. Like and everyone inside their head has these things that go on. They have these thoughts, they have emotions.
It's just who's hiding it. Yeah.
Dude, exactly right. It's so funny though. It's just like that book when you're kids that says everybody poops. It's like, guess what? Everybody feels off sometimes.
Dude, and the pooping one, people get mad at me still when I mention poop on a live stream. I'm like, you must be super fun to hang out with. Like,
you must be great. Do you get invited to a lot of parties? I bet you get invited to a lot of parties.
Like your night was upset because I said poop knife. Like, I'm just being silly. Like, we all pooped today, hopefully. Like,
let's hope so.
Down. So
or else get off the stream and go drink some coffee or something and go fix that problem.
Please. Joshua says, I believe my beard is pretty therapeutic to a level that I don't think people can understand unless they connect to that. It's the process is therapeutic. The result is therapeutic. Essential oils can be therapeutic.
And here is the first on-point discussion that we're going to have today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Joshua Andrews, for putting us back on track and talking about the things about doing your beard that can be therapeutic.
I love it. I love it. I will take a quick detour. quick detour. Then back to Joshua here. First thing, the question that I've been lingering on for you, Mr. Nicholas. Isn't Nicholas government name?
It is.
Okay, got it. Just want to make sure. Because I do know a Nick government name, by the way.
Yeah, just like my son's name is actually Jack, right? Everyone's like, what's his full name? It's like, no, it's Jack.
There you go. Yep. You are the reigning, defending U.S. national beer. I saw Phil in the chat. He was there. He can confirm. The national 18 to 24 inches beard champion. Like, of the United, I hope you sit back once in a while and you're like, there's a lot of big beards in the country. From 18 to 24, I am the champion in the United States.
There's a lot of really nice big ass beards out there.
So with that said, currently, if you went to nationals today, you would be in a new category of 2+ feet.
Yep.
Would you trim down to just under 2 feet or would you continue to go? In a little bit of perspective, you would likely do better by trimming under 24 because that new category is insane and you would get there. But if you have goals of getting bigger, what's the bigger goal? Winning or the growing? What would you do tomorrow if you needed to?
Growing. So
wow, I did not expect that.
No, I would actually rather. So if this was a Dan Command's Corner, this or that, grow or win.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna grow. And I'll tell you why. My whole goal of stopping trimming and keeping business beard, I was determined. I really want to know, because no one in my genetic line of history I've ever seen has ever tested what my genes will produce as a terminal length. I don't know.
No one does. Yeah, no one does.
Yeah. Until you get it to a certain point and it grows 38 inches and stops, Yeah. And so like I want to see, I just kind of want to see what it is. So like, I think my curiosity outweighs my ego in the sense that I would rather go and be in the bottom end of a new category and just keep hitting that same category until I get to the point where I win. And then I'll keep going from there too, obviously. But I think, yeah, my curiosity about where my beard will go outweighs my desire to win another gold medal in the same category.
Oh, that's true. You're almost like the UFC champion that won his category, and you're like, I cleared out this division. I need the next one too.
Right. And I'm okay to lose a few times in that new category in order to eventually win it.
And you'll know that mindset because once you hit it. So here's another good example. UFC has a weight limit, but many promotions have a heavyweight division, and that's like the baddest man on the planet, right? Well, the heavyweight division can be from like 206 pounds to 350. And
To
so
the mountain.
The mountain has a massive advantage in that situation. You're the 206 pounds. You're just entering your heavyweight division.
That's it.
And it's going to take time to get that bulk. But the growth has been remarkable in the sense that you don't have wild transparency even at that length.
No, I don't. Not
That's
at
crazy.
all. Like if I kind of come back where you can see it, like over the jeans you can, but if I like, you comb this out.
Yeah, your day to day.
Like I don't have a lot going on there at the bottom at all. It's about to there.
Yeah.
So like if you see like behind the gray shirt, maybe to this point there gets a little transparency.
Yeah, a little.
But I mean that's really about it. You really look close, like all the way down to there. There's I put my arm behind it, right?
Yeah.
It's about there you see it. I mean, it's not much up top at all.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Man, and on that note, Leo says, have you seen George Bruno, the YouTuber, on problems with long beards? He learned another problem is trimming it shorter. He was viciously savage for that. Unjustified, of course.
That is, I think the people always ask, what's the secret to growing your beard long? And it is not trimming.
It really is. It really, really is.
But I mean, it's always such a smart ass answer.
Right.
But it's actually true. But there's a lot of things like that. Like people are like, what's the secret to not gaining weight? Not eating like crap. Super less. Easy.
Yep.
How do you get so tan? I hang out in the sun.
I mean, you don't, but yeah, that is.
I sure as hell don't. I'm speaking figuratively for other people here.
Like
I have to have my light set to like a nice warm temperature here, else it'd be like talking to a roll of tinfoil wearing a t-shirt.
Yeah, the reading lights that are like the blue lights to block out. Nick's windows are that to like prevent the rays from coming in.
So true.
And then Leo gives another recommendation. He says, check this guy out. He has connected ADHD and entrepreneurship pretty much the way Nick is now. I could for a fact see that. I think our best musical geniuses have a few screws that are unusual and different, and yeah, absolutely.
Randy Cassingham.
Writing
it down.
He sounds British.
Sounds British. He does sound British.
Thank you, Leo. And then the real CEO says, hey, Dan, I have autism spectrum disorder, and it is certainly not a superpower for me. Have thought about asking you to talk some strategies you have employed in the classroom that might help. Anytime, man. Anytime. I have a lot of experience with spectrum disorder and formerly known as Asperger's and all. I mean, I have high functioning autistic students. I have severe needs ones, and I don't know your situation, of course, but I would say, my goodness gracious, autism can be even more of a superpower. If you don't believe me, look at the top 5 businesses in the United States and take a look at their owners and see if there is when you speak about this type of stuff, they have a new term that they like to use. It is cognitive. Oh man, somebody help me out. Cognitively divergent. It's something along those lines. Somebody in the chat will help me out on this one. And if you look at it, it's like, okay, Tesla, Elon, he has fully talked about and admitted it. All right, Microsoft, Bill Gates. Yeah, okay, I definitely see that. And we keep going down the line, and it's like Steve Jobs before. Yep. And so and again, I don't know your situation. This is not towards you at all. But wow, autism. Yeah, neurodiverse. Yeah, neurodivergent. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I believe it's neurodivergent. And there is neurodiverse, of course, when we look at it as like a macro scale.
Right.
Neurodivergent. Yes, that is the new term, and it encompasses more than autism, but it just happens to be used all the time for autism. But when you start looking at people that are very, very successful, there's often some kind of divergent neurological disorder going on.
Yep.
I mean, it just is. And we see people, right? Beard Funhouse says ADHD, bipolar, and some severe social anxiety. You're not alone, man. There's many people out there that absolutely relate and absolutely do well in life. You know, that's not a crazy sentence like it used to be.
Yeah, no, it's not at all. And the okay, and we keep going back to this, so we're gonna have to relate back to this stream on another one.
We will.
But what was funny is I saw a barber friend of mine, Chris Cole, used to work with this guy Jim, right across the street. So I was in there picking up some lunch yesterday, and Jim walks in behind me. I haven't seen him in months. He looked great, and he was, looked like he was doing real good. Looked like he dropped some pounds, even maybe a little bit. Looked like he was getting in shape for the summer.
Jim?
And so it was funny though. He's like, I'm like, man, it's finally 60 outside. And he's like, thank God. He's like, I guess we could say bye to seasonal depression for a little while. That's cool. And I was like, man, seasonal affectation disorder has been kicking my ass, and it's been sitting there. And the girl behind the counter sees this talking, and she was the one that literally said, she's like, man, I bet it feels good as guys just to like openly talk about depression now because it's 2024. And we're like, yeah, it's pretty sweet. Like we didn't used to be able to say that before.
Yeah, it's amazing. So yeah,
but even she noticed.
We'll have that full stream, guys, and amazing comments and add-ons. Look forward to it. I can kind of set a date here. Nick, I'm going to send you a private chat real quick. All right. Okay. And then I will have either one or two dates for you guys. But our main topic of today, before we get on some more divergent tangents, is let's talk about essential oils versus fragrance oils. And I want to go over the pros and cons of both. This is not anything that's one-sided. This is not anything that is trying to convince anyone of anything. This is just simply talking about your experiences, our thoughts and information that we have on it. Maybe you learned something. Maybe we gained some perspective. And again, we love all ranges of these. This is not in any way saying good, bad. It's just simply sharing, right? We have companies that hang out in here all the time, such as True North that uses fragrance oils, such as Beard Octane that uses fragrance oils. They're amazing. I use them personally. So this is in no way saying anything is bad. Okay. Beautiful. All right. Officially next week, you guys, we will have an ADHD / mental health, because it looks like we have bipolar. It looks like we have autism. It looks like we have so many different things that we can kind of talk about. People are bringing up their siblings. People are bringing up their kids. And I think that's going to be amazing to be able to have those discussions. So next week, 1 p.m. Eastern, we will have a mental health discussion, and all started by my late night ADHD thoughts of why I was having revenge procrastination.
Look at that. I love it.
And it was on my stream last night. You guys can go check. But, okay, essential oils and fragrance oils. Let's start with fragrance oils, okay? Mm-hmm. Pros and cons here. And I'm going to kind of facilitate to Nick here in a couple different ways. Nick, off the top of your head, are there, and by the way, this is a human that is adverse to fragrance oils. So he can't personally wear them. He has, and he used to, but he's adverse to them. Nick, are there pros off the top of your head to using fragrance oils as a company that uses essential oils? You probably have a unique angle to be like, yeah, I wish because of this.
So many advantages to using fragrance oils. Using essential oils for the purpose of fragrance and not using them for the medicinal benefits of essential oils, first of all, is definitely, and pardon my colorful euphemism here, it is definitely reaching around your ass to itch your elbow. I mean, it is, you are spending so much more time and effort than you need to in order to create sense out of essential oils instead of fragrance oils. And that is my favorite way to put something that you're doing, and you're doing it the hard way, but you're going to do it anyway for whatever reason. Try it right now. It's difficult. Nope. Anyway, so many reasons why they're beneficial. Dan tried to do it. It didn't work.
That was crazy.
So what the first thing is consistency.
Yes.
and not, from a textural perspective, we're talking consistency from just a repeatability perspective standpoint,
Every time.
shelf life, oxidation, cost, repeatability, like I said. Also, the wide range of pre-blended fragrance oils that literally can match any fragrance of anything you can possibly dream of. Like, you think of a scent like, man, I wish that, smelled like 10 penny nails and motor oil. Like, guess what? There's going to be a fragrance oil for you. Like, there's you the world is so endless in that space. In you literally could have a product catalog built out with new releases for the next 5 years, all based on going to pick SKUs from someone's pre-blended fragrance oils. I mean, so it's like, I wish we could use them. I wish I could use them, right? That we would still have our essential oil line, but I would definitely still be rocking some stuff that did have fragrance oil in it from time to time, because some of them smell amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's just from the top of my head. You tell you under 60 seconds, like, what are the benefits of fragrance oils? I mean, that's it.
Oh, you killed it.
And it's a lot of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that was quick, but you listed like 8 things. Like, you got them all. And another one that's kind of commonly known is you are much more likely to have stronger and longer lasting scents because of the structure, because they're not quite as abrasive or quote unquote dangerous. Now, to be fair, we're gonna cover the cons. I'm gonna take this one just simply because I don't want Nick putting out there like cons and then people being like, look at this guy saying all these bad things because he uses essential oils. But obviously, feel free to chime in anytime. The cons to fragrance oils, one is they don't have any therapeutic value to them. They're not going to do anything for the skin. They're not going to do anything for the hair. They're not going to do anything for your sinuses or your mind or any other benefits that we see with essential oils. And that's okay, right? When we're talking about the potency of a beard oil bottle, on average, at most, 2% of that bottle is going to be fragrance oil. 98% of it is going to be helpful carriers. So just something to keep in mind there. But again, they don't offer that. Another thing is they don't absorb into the hair and skin in the same way essential oils do.
Right.
Now, if you guys want to test this, wear an essential oil blend for a full day and then take a shower at night. You might get a little bit of a pop of that scent, but there's not going to be much. Wear a fragrance blend all day, take a shower at night, boom, that pop is going to explode. I'm not going to say explode. It's going to explode and be a powerful scent, sometimes even so strong the next morning you'll still get that explosion of scent. Now, that is because you will get a film. You will get a little leftover layer of the fragrance oil that attaches to the outside of your skin and the outside of your hair, and it comes back to life when you add water, as compared to the essential oil, which is naturally made to absorb into your skin and into the hairs themselves.
Yep.
So having something left over and lingering on your hair and skin, not the worst thing in the world, but if you ask me if I could choose to have that or not, I would prefer to not have that. And I would say the last con is just simply being attached to the term synthetic, attached to the term a lab. I am not against labs. You guys know that. They're clean, they are safe, they are dialed in, they have a lot of ability to buy in bulk so they can save money. But fragrance oils do come from a lab. Essential oils do come from nature. The difference of squeezing out an oil and then a chemist and a scientist whipping something up to smell like those.
Yep.
Those would be my cons. Again, with a big list of pros there.
Oh yeah, huge list of pros. And I guess that's the thing, right? And we even have some people here, right? Some people like both. Some people definitely have a preference one way or another, and people like in here like me don't really have a choice, and you have to use essential oil stuff over fragrance oils. But that's just like the people that can do both. The market is the same, and it's filled with all kinds of us, right? That's why I don't understand when people that are all essential oil like just go hard and bashing fragrance oils, because there's nothing really to bash, right? I mean, they're great products, and if you can use them and you like them, then hey, you're not doing any harm using them, right?
Yep. And I did drop a poll in the chat, you guys, so we can get some real-time data. I have EOs, which are for essential oils, FOs for fragrance oils, and then both. So drop your comment here, and the data may be a little bit skewed and biased because this is an essential oil only company, and people in here likely love the company. So I will acknowledge that if we're talking about research here, but feel free, answer honestly in there. are you like, okay, yeah, I just genuinely love essential oils. I just genuinely love fragrance oils, or both? We'll come back to this in about a minute here, and let's go ahead and tackle essential oils. So
Yeah.
Nick, start on the pros of essential oils. What do you love about essential oils?
I mean, one, I take huge value in like the medicinal side of essential oils, which you would not really know about, Dr. Nix, unless you talk to me,
Right.
because we have done a terrible job of advocating that on the product pages and on the website historically. And I want that to change this year and get a little better at it. And I also had somebody tell me a long time ago, which was terrible advice, maybe, about how if we lean too hard into that, we're going to turn off everyone that doesn't find value in that. Right. So there's some truth to it, maybe. So I think with the benefits, though, you're talking, I mean, therapeutic benefits from a mental standpoint. I pick my beard oil scent in the morning based on what I want my nose to smell that closely to my face first thing in the morning with essential oils. Like if I'm feeling sleepy, I go citrus. If I'm feeling a little anxious, I go lavender. If I feel like I just want something that kind of just makes me feel good, right, I go 21 or cold brew or lemongrass ginger. If I'm feeling sick, I've been doing lemongrass ginger. If my sinuses are bugging me, I go lemongrass ginger. If my ears are bugging me because it's a natural analgesic, or if my throat hurts, I'll go IPA. And so like if I have a sore throat in the morning and I have to talk later in the day, I'm 100% going IPA. And I'm probably reapplying in the middle of the day too, for the moisture, but for the hops essential oils to get into my lungs. Like it's really good for your bronchial tissues.
I learned something yesterday that was very interesting. There is hops is a plant, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is a plant that was born from hops. It is considered like a cousin of hops that is being legalized in many states in the United States, and including Connecticut near you. And I didn't know that it was a cousin of hops. I didn't know that it came from that. That's crazy. So
did you know they're also both preservatives?
Yes. So when you wonder what I'm watching at 1 a.m. when I am fighting my revenge procrastination, I was learning about the history of that plant. So, all right, sorry, you hit hops, and I was like, oh my God. I literally was like, I wonder if Nick knows this.
The humulus.
Yeah. So, hops. I love the hops in IPA so much, and especially, like you said, for those benefits.
And so someone just commented a while ago, Joshua, he said that I find therapy in doing my beard.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's talk about that, right? People have been using essential oils and oil reed diffusers. And if you're sick, you simmer lemon essential oil on your stove, right, to kind of cast your house in it, or use a diffuser or something. First of all, there's no better diffuser than the hair that's on your face, right? I mean, you are literally diffusing oils directly into your face. I mean, there's no better way to get it. And so the benefit from essential oils being in beard products, I think, beyond just, again, the therapeutic properties of them when you absorb them and they're there, is you're diffusing that right in, breathing it in. It's good stuff. And another one that I think is huge with essential oils, when you have the proper ratio of essential oils mixed with a carrier, they're incredibly good for the skin, right? They oxidize on the skin. And when essential oils break down, they break down into really beneficial antioxidants. Because if you think about like microgreens, right, how there's more nutrients in microgreens than there is in like a whole head of lettuce when you're at the grocery store looking at stuff to keep you healthy. Like you can either eat a whole bag of broccoli florets, or you could eat a handful of radish and bean sprout microgreens, and you're going to get the same amount of minerals from the microgreens as you do from that whole bag of broccoli. Right. Like, so if you think about like the tiny little molecules that are in essential oils and how you're taking big, massive, like for lavender, I think they say it takes like 100 pounds of lavender flowers to basically make a quarter gallon of lavender essential oil. Right? Like the amount of material it takes to squeeze the oils out, you're dealing with like large amounts of botanicals. So I think the benefit of using essential oils in a beard product is you look at the nutrients that come out of plants as they break down, and like the gases they put off, and the molecules that are laid dormant and then become alive as antioxidants. Some of them turn into retinol, vitamin A. I mean, you got vitamin K comes from these, right? You got crazy amounts of stuff that comes out of these plants as they deteriorate. So I think like the health side effect of it is one thing. The other side of it is I do happen to be on that side of the pole. If you asked me, I would lean essential oil anyway. Same. Because I don't like artificial smells in general. Like I don't like artificial air fresheners. I have never, ever, once, ever put an air freshener in my car. I once had an auto detail shop that used a scented shampoo in my car, literally take it back or buy my car from me if they couldn't fix it. Like wow. I was like, I am not driving a car that smells like cherries. I'm sorry, fix it or I'm suing you and you're buying the damn car. Like it was, I just don't like them. So, I mean, like I want something that's natural anyway. And if I do want to smell like something else, I actually don't want it to be my beard that smells like something else. I'd rather cologne on my skin or some other way of getting that scent, right? I don't look at my beard as something I want other people to smell. Right. So that's just a personal preference. I'm not saying that other people shouldn't, like the fact that when they walk into a conference room and sit down for a meeting that people next to them can smell leather and bourbon, right? I mean, again, personal choice, more power to you. I just don't want to derive my people around my experience of me by my beard. So I would probably go there anyway, because what some would deem as a negative, right, is that the scents dissipate very quickly because they're oxidizing onto your hair and your skin.
Yep.
And so if you're going to call that a negative, in my book, that's actually a positive. Like I want to get those things. I want to have it smell good while I'm getting ready. And then I really don't want to smell it later in the day when I bend over to do something or something else. That's just not my preference.
Same. Yep. And I definitely agree on all of that. And G Square, this is so funny how different people are and how when we say like scents are subjective, people sometimes think it's like a cop out or you're getting away. No, it's subjective. He says he loves him some fake cherry Slurpee. You guys probably know my least favorite smell in the entire world is fake cough syrup, candy like cherry specifically. Like people like, Dan, why don't you like cherry tobacco? Because the cherries are all disgusting. Like I don't like that fake cherry. Now I know others do. And people take like funny shots, not serious shots, but they make fun of me for not liking food sets. Yeah, I don't. And so that's just me. Other people go crazy for them and they want others to smell them. It really is a personal preference situation. Yep. Truly.
Who's Otto talking to? No need to be so flashy. Think big. I don't know.
It's talking about your beard, No, I think talking about the scent and projecting and going out where you and I are like, no. We can have it
right. No need to be so flashy. Okay, right. Yeah. I guess you're kind of right. Yeah, that is kind of what I was saying. I guess.
Yeah. See, my buddy Ken, he likes the fake cherry too. And again, I know this. Like, I'm not like these people are faking it.
Dude, Ken, I should have got you to. I should have got you to buy my freaking Mitsubishi clips that smelled like cherry for 2 years after I took it to a detail shop in Tampa, Florida.
And okay, so cons there, but that's like a preference thing. There are some legitimate cons, hurdles, challenges to working with essential oils. What would those be?
Sorry, I was reading comments.
Oh, no. All right, so I was saying the previous con of the oxidation and it not being strong, being dissipated.
What are more?
Is preference. What are the ones that are unarguably cons of working with essential oils as a company that does this?
Super easy one. So you know how it took me a while to talk about the benefits and they were kind of long-winded, but it was super easy to talk about the benefits of using fragrance oil. Mm-hmm. Another one that'll rattle off the top of my head really fast is the negatives of using essential oils like we do, because we deal with it. Okay, shelf life, big problem. Oxidation, huge problem. You can't have any air when you're bottling this stuff, or else you get bubbles and air in the bottle. You cut your shelf life literally in half. We can't make certain, for example, we can't scent our butter with essential oils because the essential oils literally eat the fats in the butter differently for each one of our scent profiles.
So like if we take makeup.
Oh, dude, like you take our, lime zest citrus pine, take our lavender orange sandalwood, you take the IPA, and you take the lemongrass ginger and the peppermint rosemary. You take a small batch of butter, take a 1% mixture of those essential oil blends and put them in each one and whip it. You will come back to 5 different products within 24 hours. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking like a little difference here, guys. Like I'm dead serious when I say that if I took our butter and we put them all in here and you couldn't smell them, but you could put your fingers in each one, you would be able to tell which of those 5 tubs was our butter, because the other 4, you would be unfamiliar with them. It is not even like it's a marked difference. Like, it breaks it down in such a crazy way. One of the essential oil blends, I forgot what it was. It liquefied the butter almost. Like, it literally like broke it all apart. It de-emulsified the whole thing. It separated the oils from the fats, and it was a mess, literally.
Yeah, it's almost like the essential oils are an active ingredient, while fragrance oils are an inactive ingredient.
Dude, you are 100% right. And so, like Jill says, stability, pricing, balancing natural ingredients, like availability of them, consistency of them. So, like, we talk about repeatability of fragrance oils. Like, you're not going to notice the difference between one fragrance oil and another based on how they interact with other ingredients in your product. And that's intentional, because they're made for cosmetic and food industry, right? And they, in order to get certified as food safe, fragrance oils have to prove they're doing their job, which is not altering anything else they're in while providing a scent. Like, that's the role and the job of a fragrance oil. And if they don't do it, they can't sell it. And so, since essential oils are botanicals, you obviously can't say that. So, there's a difference sometimes between batch number 50 and batch number 75 from a company.
Even in color. I've had somebody recently send me 2 pictures of their previous Dr. Nick's oil and then their new one. They're like, it's a different color. That's nature. Like, that is the yield of it. It happens. You guys see, you can grow the same apples, and sometimes they'll be a little bit more yellow. They'll be a little bit more red here. Definitely a con for companies, because it's hard to work with. It's hard to explain. For me, it's a pro. I genuinely love the variety of nature. I love that it might be a little bit different of a lavender than my last time, but I know it's coming from a plant. I know it's natural. I don't drink alcohol anymore, but when I did, I drank cider, and I drank like craft cider. Same exact kind of concept. Your craft cider would be the same brand, the same name if it's local, but it never was going to be exactly the same. It was going to taste different every run because it was from nature, and I appreciated that so much. So definitely a company con, but my personal pro.
Dude, I'm right there with you, man. I think that's dead on, because I like the variation. Like, I like the variation in things in general. Like, I like when things are I don't like structure in general in life in a lot of ways. Like, I like to I like being able to tell myself that I don't need to be good at everything I'm good at every day, because I can decide what I'm doing that day kind of in the moment a lot of times.
Yep.
Aside from certain little things that you're kind of bound to doing all the time the same way. But I mean, variation is like, it's me. I embody variation in a lot of ways, right? So I kind of get bored with things, I guess, if they're the same every single time. Like, with certain stuff. I like restaurants sometimes because they're not the best restaurant in the world, but you know exactly what you're going to get every time you go there, because it's always identical, right? So there is the place in the world for that, for sure.
True. And Walter's on the same page. He goes, if I get 2 different colors, it just shows me that it's natural.
Yeah. So dude, that's me too. And like, in our carriers are the same way, since we only use, all natural carriers. We don't use anything that's been processed. We don't use anything that's been normalized. Like, that's a big term in the cosmetic world, is normalized oils. And what that's doing is, they fractionate oils in order to pull out their variances.
Right.
And to me, that's just like taking something all natural and putting it in a mold. And it's like taking a piece of live edge wood and cutting off all the live edges and only keeping the middle part. You know what I mean?
That's the balance. When you have it from nature here, there's a balance of, if I refine it, it's going to be easier to work with. Maybe it knocks down some of the smell. Maybe there's more consistency, but I am taking away some of those natural benefits, and there's no way to look around it. The right answer is definitely a range of personal preference, but it's somewhere, in the middle. But that's the beauty of having a diverse community of companies. You can go find what you want. If you want the closest thing to nature, we got you. We can give you recommendations. If you want the most consistent thing of all time, we got you. We got recommendations.
Yeah.
So
that's it, man. And I hope the people who are doing those things those ways are able to speak to the ways they're doing it as passionately as we can speak to the way that we're doing it.
For sure.
And you don't need to disparage someone else in order to speak emphatically about yourself, right?
Exactly.
I think you can build yourself up without taking others down. And like if you talk to Octane, or hey, you talk to True North right here, right? He's going to talk about the benefits of what they do and what they use, right? And I hope he's just as pumped on the way they do things as we are on the way we are. But I guarantee you, if you sat there and had a discussion with him this exact same way, he would be excited about the way they do things. But he would also be like, but hey, these are what other people do and they do it really well. So I encourage you to, if that's what you're into, go check it out, right?
For sure. And yeah, last night, one of my this or that's was something that's always been fun to debate, the Oxford comma. When you have a series of 3 words or more, do you put a comma before the conjunction at the end and that stuff? So
or put a comma before you say someone's name, even if it's only a 2-word sentence saying, hey, so-and-so.
Yeah.
Or is it blah, 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 comma, Dan.
Right. Yeah, too deep. But yeah, Phil, thank you for bringing up those memories of last night. And then no, just kidding. So yeah,
I bet that was a fun one.
It actually was fun. We had a much more heated discussion last week about margarine and me telling people not to use margarine because
don't use margarine. I'm going to echo Dan's statement, and I don't care if like this is going to bring back more bad memories. Anything that has partially hydrogenated soybean oil in it or partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, you should not use it because it's a bromination process, which is bad for so many ways.
Yeah.
Don't eat it. You should not eat anything that should exist on your windowsill for 5 years and be chemically and visually identical as it was before it was left there uncovered for 5 years. That should not be something you ingest. I'm sorry. There's actually no debate there. If you want to do it knowing it's wrong anyway, more power to you, but at least acknowledge that it's bad.
Yeah, and Ken, I learned this from you. Somebody told me you had said that, so it's partially illegal. Now, I'm also on the side of I don't like adults telling other adults what they can and cannot do. So like making margarine illegal to me is ridiculous and just not getting political. It's so crazy that like politicians are normal people and they're like, you can't eat this. That's bad for you. Well, if people want to eat it, let them eat it. Let them take years off their life. Like
just like if they want to smoke, if they want to smoke, let them smoke. If they want to have menthol cigarettes and the Newports or whatever, like let them do it. I don't care.
Yep. And that's kind of the same thing here. And one kind of last good point, I actually really love this point from True North. He said, scents invoke memories. In some foodie scents, just do that. Great conversation. Yeah, let's say you have a cereal scent. I hate cereal, so I have no memories there. But if someone's like, it brought me back to being a kid. It brought me back to simpler times, happier times. Heck to the yes.
Waffles. Yep. Maple, things like that, right? Waffle scented stuff.
Yep. So yeah, Darren, and I'm not trying to tell anybody to throw away their stuff. Actually, I will. I'll tell you to throw away your margarine. He said, I looked all that up after Dan talked about it. That stuff went in the trash the morning when I got home. And I grew up on margarine.
Good. I did too. I can't believe it's not butter. It was all we had in our fridge until the better than butter things came out, like Parquet and all that crap. Like it was back in the days when like everyone still believed that fat grams and cholesterol were really bad for you.
Cholesterol is your brain.
It's your brain. It's your fuel that your whole everything runs on. But we hey, listen, nutrition had a little bit of a detour into the land, a little bit of oopsie land there for, sugar good, fat grams bad, diet everything. Like if something says diet in it or sugar free in it, that means there's something else in it that is far worse for you than the thing that it is replacing. I promise.
Your body doesn't know what it is.
Yeah, fat free. There's a reason they sold Olean potato chips right next to triple ply toilet paper. Like that was not by mistake.
Yeah.
It is a circle of consumption, my friends.
But again, do what you want. I might have a Mountain Dew after this. Do I think that's good for me? No. But it's a calculated risk and I enjoy it. YOLO.
Do they still use brominated vegetable oil in Mountain Dew for mouthfeel, or did they finally join the rest of the world that says that's illegal?
Let's just say I am blissfully ignorant because it's like one of the only things in my life that I know is very bad that I really enjoy, and I do regardless because I like it.
And it's fine. In moderate, you're not drinking 12 of them a day, right?
Yeah.
So like even if it did still have brominated vegetable oil in it, at your rate, kind of who cares? You drink one once in a while, right? it's not, you're not swimming in it. You're
No,
not,
no,
you're
no.
not, you're not drinking it instead
Yeah.
of water.
I literally took yesterday off because I was like, I traveled the previous and I was drinking some pop. I just don't want to have pop. So I just don't, and I try to go no more than 1 can a day when I do. But
no, see, that's good. And then like, you know what? It's like one of those things. It's not like it's not like your pee smells like Baja Blast or anything. So you're fine.
No, that would, and if it looked like it just came out neon, that would be insane.
That'd be concerning.
Yeah, I would first call Salmon, but then I would look into it more.
Baby, come look.
Yeah, it's glowing.
Listen, every girl's little dream comes true. Just knowing that a bearded man wants to show you something in the toilet before he flushes it. Like nothing makes a girl happier than that. And I've proved it time and time again. And it's just, hey,
the little things.
It's the little things in life that just bring you closer together.
All right. So to wrap this up, the poll, not surprisingly, was won by both. Variety is the spice of life. We encourage both. We love both. I use both. Nick would if he could use both.
I would.
And so they both have their place. Hopefully you learned a little bit today. Hopefully you enjoyed the discussion. We will have do our best to limit to an hour next week, but we will have an ADHD, a mental health overall kind of discussion next week. And I think it'll be amazing. You guys already had so many things. I'm like, I got it. Nope. Stay. So please come back. Please bring your thoughts, and who knows who we could help next week. So thank you guys for watching. If you're watching the replay, I highly encourage you to leave a comment. Dr. Nix replies to every single one on here. And I want to say thank you guys for helping out. Thank you for helping me as well. This stuff is so good for me mentally and really makes an impact on my life. So I appreciate you guys. And as always, if you need anything, reach out to me. Nick, go ahead and take it home.
Well, same, man. Thanks for being here as always, guys. This is great. I actually can't wait for next week.
Me too.
Talking about all a squirrel. Sorry, ADHD and hyper focusing issues.
We don't have ADHD. What are you talking about? We're always on task.
Fine. We're all fine. Is what we are. So next week we're going to talk episode 87. Somehow our ADHD has not gotten the best of us, making us forget about this for 86 weeks in a row now, which is
literally
pretty cool. And just thanks for being here. I'm actually tell a friend. And this is one of those ones where like I never say this at the end of streams. Dan does a really good job of saying it. I don't. I bet all of you know someone who could benefit from next week. So like, even if they're not a bearded person, even if they're just a guy, a girl, a son, a daughter, a coworker, a friend, there might be someone who after next week goes, I'm not alone, or I'm not weird, or wow, that's actually something that could be a benefit for me. And I'm not using it as I could, right? Put it out there. I'm definitely going to, now that I know that's what we're doing next week and I'm excited about it. Let's everyone try to like find someone else who might be able to take something away from next week. So share it out and we'll see you then 1:00 next Tuesday. Yeah. Have a stay